Hello, everybody. This morning, I am going to speak with my dear, dear friend, Linda Phillips, who has been my writing buddy for more years than I can count. We're going to talk about her re-release of her debut young adult novel, Crazy. But before we do that, Linda's going to tell us a little bit how the book came about in the first place.
Thanks, Carol. Well, Carol already knows this story because she's a big part of it. Many years ago, she said, more than I wish to mention, I wrote a series of about 20 poems about my mother and me, because my mother had bipolar disorder. And mostly it was cathartic. I was working through the process of trying to understand, having been brought up in a family with significant mental illness in my mother, and just kind of working through it. Handed it to Carol, who has always been my best critiquer, and she read them and said, I think this should be not just a collection, but a novel, a whole book. And so that's where it started, and turned those 20 poems into a young adult novel in verse, that is semi-autobiographical, dealing with how it was growing up with a mother with bipolar disorder.
And it was published 10 years ago by Erdman's.
Yes, and then just out of the blue, wasn't even thinking about this. It took me totally by surprise. My former editor, Kathleen Mertz, contacted me in the fall of 2023 and said, "Hey, we'd like to do a re-release." Um, yeah, a lot predicated on the post-COVID uptick in the discussion about mental illness. And
Mhm.
10 years ago, it wasn't as such a hot item. And
Mhm.
especially, I found when I was promoting it that the schools weren't really excited about going into much detail about mental illness. So hopefully this will be another opportunity to reach some schools, and uh, and so we'll see. But Urbans is excited about it, and so am I.
I bet you are. I know it's really exciting. Well, so what's different about this edition of it than the first one?
Yeah, well, so at first I was alarmed. Oh dear, am I going to rewrite? And no, not at all. They're keeping the total content is as it was. They did an author interview with me that will be in the back matter, a brand new cover, which is much more contemporary, they think, and I think, than it was 10 years ago. Some back material, some links, and some helps about mental illness, and also a study guide. There was a study guide for the first edition, but this one will be a little more extensive and updated.
Okay, so that's great information. And what do you hope that the re-release now will accomplish?
Yeah, I do hope that it will bring the discussion of mental illness into the school system and into the public in general. 10 years ago, probably more adults read Crazy than young adults, but I hope to appeal to, again, both audiences,
Mhm.
and to keep the conversation going. Even with the first edition, I got many, um, most almost every stop that I made along the way of promoting, I would get comments about, "Oh, this is my family you're talking about. I can totally relate." And so I hope that that continues, that we can work together as a community wherever I go to fight the stigma, to keep the
Mhm.
conversation going about mental illness, and how there are so many more helps and programs medically and psychologically and socially to help these days
Mhm.
than they were even 10 years ago.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, is that as young adults and teens read this book, and if it resonates with them, they will realize that they're not alone and they will seek out the appropriate help
Absolutely.
so that the
Absolutely.
cycle of mental illness doesn't continue.
Exactly.
All
Yes.
right. Well, thank you. We're excited for you. And Linda's, the re release is going to be coming out in July. So we have a few months to wait for that, but it'll happen pretty soon. And we look forward. I can't wait to get my own personalized copy of it.
Mm.
So,
Thanks, Carol. Thanks.
Okay. All right.
Thank
Thank you, everybody, for listening. Bye bye.
you. Bye.